Hello again, everyone. I'm Dr. George Simon, and welcome to another edition of the new Character Matters program. This is the program where we talk about what I consider to be the defining issue of our time, the character crisis that we face, and that we've become all too accustomed to for several years now, and that has affected every aspect of our lives. From our interpersonal relationships to our intimate relationships, our marriages, our business affairs, our politics, every aspect of our lives is affected by the character issue. There were times in our history when we paid much more attention to character and its importance, and accordingly, we gave a lot of time and attention to the character formation of our children. And we devoted an awful lot of time and attention to our own personal development. And it's for that reason that years ago I undertook what would be my last, I believe, literary work, and that is Essentials for the Journey. Embracing and living the 10 Commandments of Character, proven principles for a psychologically healthy and spiritually rich life. And today I'm going to be talking about the interrelationship between culture and character, because for years a classic vicious cycle has been raging, where certain aspects of the culture that were designed to help foster and reinforce character in individuals became corrupted. Certain aspects of the culture, certain institutions became progressively corrupt, and as a result, their influence on character development waned. And as that happened, more and more character deficient people entered the population as a whole. And when that happened, there was a further erosion, a further corruption of various institutions and systems designed to inspire and reinforce character. It's a classic vicious cycle. So these days, it's harder than ever to develop good character. It's harder than ever to find good character. And this affects everything. The first commandment that I talk about in my book, Essentials for the Journey, talks about an indisputable fact, a timeless, proven principle that we are all connected, that everything in our world is intertwined, that what happens with one person necessarily affects another, that what happens in one area of life necessarily has impact on another. And these days, in a world so intricately interconnected, this could not be more true. And so it pays us to be mindful. There are so many ways that every little thing we do has impact. And it pays to be mindful of that impact. For example, in our culture of indulgence and entitlement and permissiveness, individuals do things that they think don't have consequences except to themselves. They don't stop to think, and they don't ponder the awareness that when, for example, they use a particular illegal substance, that someone, somewhere, is being exploited, maybe extorted, maybe killed as a result of the demand for that substance. They think, I'm not harming anyone. I'm just doing what pleases me. And I can use responsibly. It's not affecting anyone. In fact, it does. Everything we do has impact. Whether we are aware of that or not, or whether we choose to reckon with that or not, everything each one of us does has impact. Every action has a consequence, and it has an effect on the whole. And that's why in the latest blog post that I have at drgeorgesimon.com, you can see the URL above me on the backdrop here. That's why I insist that our present ways and the present situation is unsustainable. It's truly unsustainable. We can't keep going down the same road that we've been going. Things have to turn around, and that's why I'm optimistic. And that's why I wrote the book, Essentials for the Journey. We can and we must turn things around. We must make character matter again. It has always mattered. It always will matter. The difference is us recognizing the fact. That's what will make the difference. Once we decide, more universally, to make it count, to hold ourselves and each other accountable, once again, to not let each other slide. Once we reinforce and reward character and fail to prop up and reinforce and even reward sometimes or enable poor character, once we do those things, we'll be looking at the dawn of a very new age. And it has to come. It has to come. The present ways are simply unsustainable. They can't continue. This is pretty hard to dispute. So what exactly is sustainability? It's whether or not a system operating as it is can continue to operate as it does. You know, you can define character as the preferred way a person chooses to see things and do things. Everyone has a certain personality style, a way of looking at the world, seeing one's relationships in the world, and dealing with the world, and dealing with others in the world. That's what defines our personality, and our character is that ethical side of our personality. The aspects of our personality that define our overall integrity. And it's all about the way we approach things, the way we see things, the way we prefer to do things. Culture, our environment, the systems in which we operate, they have a certain character to them too. There are ways that certain cultures prefer to see things and do things. Ways in which certain cultures prefer to handle the stresses and strains of life, the things that come up daily. And in too many modern cultures, ours included, Certain things that were once regarded as outrageous or unthinkable have become normalized. And as a result, certain behaviors on the part of individuals within societies once thought to be outrageous or unthinkable, even unforgivable, have become normalized as well. To our practical detriment, to our personal detriment, and to our overall detriment. And that's why I say that our present ways of seeing and doing things are unsustainable. We are so intricately interconnected. And in many ways, especially with regard to information, we're getting much more savvy. So in the wrong hands, information, say, about a tactical nuclear device and how to use it as a weapon of extortion, could wreak untold damage, could affect millions. Disastrous consequences await us if we do not get a handle on our character-related problems, and especially if we don't really get busy mending the aspects of our dominant social mores, institutions, and systems that impair the development of good character, and in fact, in many ways, reward and reinforce bad character. It's simply unsustainable that things we once thought outrageous or unthinkable, or at the very least, rare, are so commonplace. In my book, Essentials for the Journey, there's another commandment. It has to do with honesty and a reverence for the truth. Reverence is a really important concept. It has to do with holding in such awe and esteem something of profound value that you can barely wrap your head around it, and to want to honor it. Well, at one time, the truth held such standing. It doesn't anymore. So one of the commandments, the fourth that I outline in my book, Essentials for the Journey, has to do with recovering some reverence for the truth. We've become all too accustomed to lying about things, to each other, and even to ourselves. This is unsustainable too. But it's become normalized. Times were that it was more commonplace that if you made a mistake, you owned it. We're human beings. We make mistakes. We go down wrong paths. We make poor decisions. That's what it is to be human. But when we have character, and when the culture has character and reinforces character, when mistakes are made, they are owned and honestly reckoned with. That's the first step to course correction. And that's a sustainable model for growth and prosperity. It all works together. These days, it's incessant spin, incessant distortion, half-truths, careful little omissions. All these tactics to evade the kind of honest self-reckoning and the honest reckoning with facts that would help us grow, help us learn, help us all prosper. It is a matter of character, both individually and collectively. Respect for the truth is a mark of character, as is appreciation for the inherent interconnectedness of all. We are part of a vast system, and we have impact with our decisions, our actions, even our attitudes. Everything we do, say, and contemplate has impact. Has impact on ourselves, our well-being, and the society as a whole. One only has to look at the facts of how routinely systems crumble, beginning at the individual family level. Our once most precious social enterprises don't hold the standing or the longevity or the commitment they once held. And that's because they were once better appreciated as vehicles, not just for our own welfare and our own character integrity, but for the integrity of the entire society. All that has become normalized, this egocentric, self-indulgent, entitled kind of mindset, and all the actions that come with it, all that has become normalized slowly, insidiously, incrementally, is killing us because of the damage done to our individual and our collective character. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I'll say it over and over and over again. Whether we like it or not, appreciate it or not, care to honestly reckon with it or not, character matters. It always has, it always will. The present course is unsustainable. What will turn things around is a change of heart. A change of heart and mind that has to start with each and every one of us at the individual level. And the very first step, the proverbial first step, has to do with recognition of the problem. Every societal problem that you can point to, I can trace directly back to character and the character crisis that we've been in for some time now. So as soon as we reckon with the fact that it's the issue that we need to tackle, we can begin a course of individual, mutual, and collective prosperity, growth, and well-being again. I invite you to visit my blog at drgeorgesimon.com. Got a new article up that you can avail yourself of, and I hope you will avail yourself of all of my books readily available, some in multiple formats on Amazon.com and other online booksellers, and even your neighborhood bookstore. More than likely, they might have to special order it because COVID and other circumstances have interrupted the normal flow of books in the system that have been out for a while. But I also hope you'll avail yourself of my latest offering, because I really consider it my most important work. And I truly pray that as the reviews come in and as folks recognize the importance of the message, that it will be shared and it will become a staple. I worked a long time on Essentials for the Journey, embracing and living the 10 Commandments of Character, proven principles for a psychologically healthy and spiritually rich life. And I hope you'll avail yourself of it and pass recommendations on to your friends. I hope you'll tune in again next time for another edition of the new Character Matters program. I'll have an announcement soon about a live broadcast that we'll be having maybe in about 6 weeks or so, at which time I can take some questions on the air. And if you want to send some questions in advance of that, go to the blog at drgeorgesimon.com. Use the contact feature that folks use to contact me for various consultations, and submit issues or questions that you want addressed on the live program, so that if you call in, we can have a robust discussion. So until next time, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Dr. George Simon. Take care.